What if you could get access to the mindset of a real cash buyer? Well, today is your opportunity to do just that with my number one cash buyer. Stand by. Let's get it.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.
Hello, guys. This is Ty, aka the Flip Man. And today we have, I guess it's going to have to be, my number one buyer in my market here in Birmingham, Alabama. He's probably everybody's number one buyer as far as a cash buyer / investor flipper. We have here Matthew Gregory. I call him Matt. I don't know if anyone else calls him that. AKA King Flipper.
I love it.
And the King Flipper part of it is something recently that he and the president of REI Live here in Alabama, Brian Tripp, have put together, where they're basically chronicling, I think I'm saying that right, his everyday activities as a flipper. And you're going to be amazed at some of the things that he's going to be able to share to give you guys some insight on the mindset of a cash buyer. This is a real cash buyer. And I'm going to get into how he and I met, and, you know, as real as it gets. So enough of me yapping. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Ty, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm super tight, man. I'm glad you were able to share your time with us. And I'm sure people are going to be educated on the process of buying, fixing, and flipping. And as wholesalers, you know, what to actually look for in a particular repeat buyer. The way I like to normally start it, Matt, if you could just tell the people, how did you get started into real estate? Boom. You know, I had to do some house cleaning. Before we get too far gone with the King Flipper, just make sure that you follow me on Instagram at AskFlipMan and Twitter. Also, while you're here on YouTube, if you're here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, tap the little bell to turn on the notifications. So when I do upload new videos, you'll get an alert. And when we go live on our Thursday night Flippinars, where we answer your questions about real estate investing, mainly wholesaling, where your cash or credit won't matter. Make sure, if you want access to my free one-page contract that I've been using since 2003, get over to dealulator.com. You can fill it out there, look professional. Boom. You can also use the deal calculator. Enough of me yapping. Back to the King Flipper.
Okay, so I'm excited to be here, Ty. Thank you, man. Me and my wife I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. Me and my wife got married in '97, and we had no money, barely making it, and we bought our first fixer-upper house to move into, not really expecting to flip it, really. And at that time, flipping wasn't like a household name, no YouTube channels, not many coaches out there. So we kind of had to kind of learn the hard way. We moved in the house, and it had the old green shag carpet and the ugly wallpaper and overgrown bushes. And we started working on it every evening after work and on the weekends. And next thing you know, about 2 months later, we had a cute little pretty house, and we got it appraised. We had like 25 grand in equity. And I was like, man, that was like, can't believe you can make money doing this. And it's when the fire like rose in me. I was like, man, I can do this. And we lived in that house for about 6 months, and I started learning all I could, reaching out to people, kind of studying the areas in our marketplace. And next thing you know, we buy another house, and we moved into it also and kept the other one as a rental. And we ended up putting about 20 grand in that house using credit cards and got an equity line for 80 grand. And that's kind of how it all started. And here we are 21 years later, have flipped almost 800 houses. We're on track to do about 85 or 90 this year, did about 85 or 90 last year. I mean, it's our life. We love it.
Wow. Now, a lot of that I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know.
That's how it started.
Yeah, just real quick. I know your wife, she's an RN, right? But she
is a nurse, yes.
Even though she doesn't do it anymore. Yeah.
Right.
So what were you doing before you all got into it?
Well, really, I was a kid. I was 21. My mom had a business we were helping her in the tax business. And we owned some Jackson Hewitt tax services and working in the tax business.
Okay, I never knew that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Well, which I know your mom, when she does some great nonprofit stuff here in Birmingham, just an amazing lady. What is it? What's the name?
Love Lady Center.
Yeah, Love Lady Center. They help
women transitioning from prisons, homeless women, women on drugs, kind of just helping women transition into a better life. They have, they're bought an old hospital in Eastlake, Birmingham, an area inside Birmingham, and they, it's about 300,000 square feet. So it's a big, big building, and they house about 450 women all the time.
Wow. Yeah, that's what's up, man. And I think you already know this. You know, I met your mom, and his mom had another piece of real. I'm not going to name the piece of real estate that she owned. And I figured out who owned the property. This is before I even met Matt. And I didn't know the years later that was his mom, you know. So
that's funny. And
I went to the Love Lady Center to meet her. Nice lady or whatever, sit down with me and discuss the property or whatever. Hey, I didn't do a deal on it or whatever, but it was interesting that I ran into her, you know, years before I met Matt and we started doing business.
And that's cool, man.
But and I just wanted to bring that up because I know she that with the work she does is amazing.
Man, I'm so proud of my mom. I really am.
Yeah, I want to definitely bring that up. So all right, so fast forward, man, and I'll get into a lot of things, but how Matt and I met is that I think if you haven't, let me brand the show. Matt has the King Flipper episodes on REI Live. It's a YouTube channel.
Yes, and
it's a local. It's the local, one of the local real estate investment associations, RIAs, here in Birmingham. As I said, ran by Brian, and they have, you say, 10 episodes now online.
Yes, yeah. And, well, I think 6 or 7 are online now.
But yeah,
we've already filmed 10. Yes,
yeah, filmed 10. So one of the episodes is with me.
Our best episode, by the way.
They put my fat butt in a truck with Matt, and we rode around all day. And I wanted to hear from him, you know what I'm saying? Because he was doing some things. I think they shared it on there. Did they show because I hadn't watched it, the Airbnb stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
They included that. Okay, yeah. I just got hype on it because I didn't know he was doing that now.
Right.
And so anyway, but how Matt and I met is I was sitting in a barbershop, which a barbershop I don't go to anymore, even though I like to go get groomed. So I ain't got that, but I like to go get groomed, talk or whatever. Anyway, I was sitting in a barbershop on a Saturday and got a call from a seller, saw one of my bandit signs, and he had a house over in the Homewood section of Birmingham. And those of you who know about Homewood, it's one of the upscale areas as far as pricing on properties. And the guy called me, told me he wanted $100K for the house, right? And so I met him the next day. He couldn't meet that day. I wanted to leave the barbershop then and go meet him because I knew where it was. And I don't get a lot of opportunities in that market, right? Especially not using bandit signs back then anyway. And so I went and looked at the house. Somebody else had offered him 90 and wouldn't go up. And from all my research, these houses were worth in the 300, right? And so he said, I really want 100. I said, if you'll do 100, will you sign a contract? If I'll do 100, will you sign a contract today? He said, yes. Okay, I put it in the contract. I reached out to this bird dog. Her name is Dorothy. What's up, Dorothy? And she said, I got somebody that I know that'll buy it, right? And so minutes later, Matt called me. I put it out there at 145, and Matt's, I think we were doing, I don't know if we were conversating about text, but you were like, will you do 140? I was like, yeah, I'll do 140.
I bet you would, yeah. Yeah.
And so anyway, so that was on a Sunday. We closed that next Monday. That's the fastest I've ever closed a real estate deal, and it's one of the biggest that I've closed as a wholesaler or whatever. But that's how Matt and I, but when we actually met, we met in the parking lot of Walmart over on Eastwood.
In Irondale, yeah.
Yeah, in Irondale. And he gave me a $2,500 earnest money check. We had never met. He's been doing it a long time. I had been doing it a long time. I'm surprised we had never met, and so, I went in cash. I always go cash money to put in my hand. But that's rare. It's rare somebody will do that. When he did that, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's dead serious. Plus, he had his truck painted up. We buy houses. That was your truck, maybe one. Yeah. Or whatever. So that's how we initially met. And so, like I said, we closed it 8 days later. A guy tried to call me because I had put it out there a little bit. And he said, if you'll cancel that contract, I'll do 160. I said, no, I don't play that game, man. I said, this guy said he'll close in 10 days, which I didn't know you did. I said, I'm going to give him an opportunity to close. And of course you did or whatever. So
we got it done, didn't we?
Oh, we got it done. And in that King Flipper episode, the episode we did, we were riding around. And I don't know if this is on the video, but you were like, oh, I did this house, this house, this house, this house, this
I've done a few houses, yeah.
we rode in the what is that?
Crestwood, maybe?
Crestwood, Forest Park area, that general area. Yeah, it just this out. Oh my God. So anyway,
I made a living over there.
Yeah. So you deal with a lot of wholesalers. You deal with a lot of realtors. Talk to the people about how you normally get your leads, and is it all through just word of mouth, or you do any marketing at this point yourself?
So I really have not done any marketing in quite a few years. Most of my houses I get are from wholesalers like you, and realtors, a lot of realtors. The way I run my business is realtors bring me deals and I let them relist the house once the house is rehabbed. So it's kind of like the agent's making twice the money, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that really is how I get most of my deals. And I still meet with a lot of homeowners. I get a lot of leads from, friends or relatives of people that I've bought houses from over the years, and I still have the same number. I'm reachable. I answer the phone every time it rings. And I try to get as many houses bought as I can, Well,
let me ask you this. As far as the type of neighborhoods that you like to target, which is pretty much all over Birmingham, but there's some areas you don't like to deal in. Could you explain the areas that you generally like to deal in our market?
So the areas that I like are where families are moving. And it can be really any price range, because I've really any house is an upgrade for somebody, right?
Oh yeah, sound like Don Williams.
So yeah, so I would say, like, in the Birmingham market, I like the Roebuck, Huffman, Grayson Valley, Trussville, Pinson, Clay, Moody, Leeds, Crestwood, obviously, Homewood, but really anywhere that people are moving to.
You don't do too much Western stuff like Hewitttown, Pleasant Grove.
Yeah, not really. Not that the opportunity is not there. I just can't be everywhere at one time, right? So I've got crews kind of situated where I like to keep the same crews in the same area, so the inspectors get to know their work and the crews understand what the inspectors are wanting, the city inspectors. So I kind of keep the same crews in the same areas, And I just really haven't ever gone to those areas over the years.
Guys, and when he's speaking of his crews, man, when he rehabs a house, it is like it's brand new. I don't care what it looks like. That first deal that we did, the guy his uncle was a hoarder, and he just inherited the house. And man, You know, matter of fact, let me tell you how bad it was. Now, they were living there. The guy, I hope he's not watching this. The guy, the uncle, it wasn't him, but the uncle created a bird cage in one of the rooms. A bird cage. Birds are filthy.
Yeah.
And so when I went back in that house after Matt, it took you all maybe a month and a half to do it?
Probably something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I was that, and that was the first time I had seen his work. I was just amazed at the final product, man. It took you how long to get a contract on it?
I think it sold off market. Yeah.
Really?
I'm not sure it ever hit the market, like actually active on the MLS.
And
but if it did, it was on the first day.
And then in a lot of cases, you get above what the market will, especially in hot areas like that, you'll get a little more than what the market will bear, right?
Yeah. So in a hot market, and it's all about timing. If you throw one out at the right time, usually you'll get multiple offers, people fighting over it, but that's not always the case. I mean, sometimes I've got 2 or 3 houses right now sitting that I can't sell. So, it's not that every house sells multiple offers on the first day, but the right ones do.
Well, is it that Hoover house we went to that's on the freeway?
Yeah, it's closing next week. I've actually had it under contract. Maybe the day we went there, it went under contract.
Really?
Yeah. So, you're good luck, brother.
Hey, you moaning and groaning. He was moaning and groaning about that house. It hadn't been on the market that long. But anyway.
In my world, it was forever, right?
Yeah. So what do you look for whenever you receive a call from a wholesaler? And I know you probably get guys that have just come from a seminar. They may have just went through the Flip Man's information or whoever, and they want to question you. And I get this sometimes too, or whatever. And I'm normally not going to be rude to people. I just let them know, hey man,
I'm not either.
Yeah, just send me a deal. Just if the numbers work, I'll look at it. You don't have to question how many you go through a month and all that stuff. So how do you normally handle that?
So I don't mind a newbie because I was a newbie at one time, right? So I try to respect everyone that brings me deals. I really just want to hear their pricing first, and quite a few wholesalers really don't always nail the rehab budget right. So a lot of times they'll underestimate how much the rehab's going to be, right? Mm-hmm. So I really don't ever put a lot of thought into what they tell me on the rehab budget, but I can usually look at pictures, and with my experience, I just kind of know how much I'm going to put in that house, right? So what I'm always looking for is if there's enough margin in there to make money. And if it's an area that I think that I could get it rehabbed and get it sold pretty quickly. So that's really what I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah. All right. Just to share someone that if they wanted to get in on the rehab side of, obviously you have to have capital, whether it's yours or it's from a private lender, hard money or whatever. What are some of the pitfalls that they should look for if it's their first rehab? Because you'll see the HGT stuff and it looks lovely and whatever, but what's the real?
Man, so it's a scary world out there, really. And I see so many people miscalculate their budgets, end up losing money. I think you really need to do your homework on the comps. First of all, know what this house will sell for and how to maximize your sales price by doing the right things. I think that getting the right contractor in there, if you're not a contractor, getting the right contractor in there is going to be important. I'm sorry, go ahead. What now?
No, I'll go ahead. I was going to say something about contractors, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges is getting the right contractor. That's really why I learned real quick, like I needed to be my own contractor. So I got my builder's license early on, and I kind of built a construction company inside my real estate business. And that's kind of how we do it in-house. And I think that's really, to scale, that's what's worked best for me.
Well, as far as the contractor part of it, someone starting out, how would you, what's the word I'm looking for? Vet. That's the word I'm looking for. Vet.
Okay.
How would you vet a contractor?
So, obviously, I think I would definitely want references, right? Meet other people that have used them. I would look at their work. Usually, I think you can, if you read people well, I think that the signs are usually there if the guy's a good guy or not. And I would rather work with somebody who seems trustworthy and honest, and who has some experience working for other investors. I think another good thing you would want to do as a new flipper is maybe partner with somebody who's got more experience on your first 2, 3, 5 deals, and learn all you can from an experienced flipper, because it really is. I mean, it's a scary world out there, and I see a lot of people make a lot of boo-boos, big mistakes, and you don't want to lose money.
Well, it's probably difficult for you to do it now. Have you ever lost money on deals?
Yeah, absolutely. Not many, but I've been real fortunate. I'm pretty conservative, so I play it pretty safe. In 2008, 2007, I bought a beach house that I was flipping, and it didn't go so well because the market tanked right after I bought it. But I got out alive. You know, I lost a pretty big chunk of money, but I made it out alive, and those were pretty scary times. So I was just excited I was still breathing, right? So I made it through 2008 without really losing everything I had. So I kind of carried on through 2008. But recently, I've had a few that I've broken even on. The house the house you were mentioning earlier that I took you to on the day we filmed, that's one that I'm breaking even on.
Why, you just impatient, or?
No, I think what happened is, even with my experience, sometimes I miss it, and I missed it on that one. I knew it has some structural problems, but I didn't realize how many problems it had, right? So I ended up.
You had to go back in and do some more stuff after we saw it?
No.
Okay,
Even when we saw it, I was already expecting that I would probably break even on that one.
Okay, all right.
And I might make a couple grand on it, but really, when you're looking at numbers like that, making 1,000 or 1,200-1,500 on a house is basically breaking even. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So, yeah. So it's not always roses,
Oh yeah. So as far as if a wholesaler calls you, well, communicating with you, and I didn't learn this until it's probably in the show, that episode, is that you prefer calls than texts. Because sometimes I text you, you might not text back.
Dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, I tried
no, it's cool. It's cool. I'm just saying, but you let me know. Oh, you got to get me on the phone, because then I'm a talker.
If it's something I need to move on quickly, really calling me is the way to do it, because I am so hands-on, and I'm moving every day. Like I'm driving, hitting the streets, from job to job to job, checking on my houses, and it gets pretty hectic in the daytime.
Oh yeah.
So I try to every evening text people that I might have missed a text from, but if you have a deal, it's usually better to call me.
Yeah. What as far as do you think you've what you're doing 85 last year, say about 85, 90 this year, you think you've tapped out in this market on what you can probably do per year as far as single family?
Well, what I've tried to do is, I don't know if I've tapped out, but I've kind of tried to get it to where 85 to 90 is not so overwhelming. So I've hired some project managers and tried to streamline it a little bit. So if the market continues to stay strong, I'll probably try to scale it a little bit more next year. But I don't want to get in over my head either. So, like I mentioned earlier, I try to play it safe. 85, 90 is pretty good volume, but I think you could do more, or I could do more.
Okay. What as far as just go back to '08. I know I got hammered. I had just got into it in 2003, and all I knew was I was making more money every year. I didn't know that there was a such thing as a downturn in real estate. I
You
thought
found out, didn't you?
Oh man, I don't
Dude.
share it much, man. Oh my God, I got drilled. I just drilled. I was single. Well, I'm still. Well, I got a girl, but I was single. Wasn't obligated to nobody at that point, and I was living that way. And, you know what I'm saying? And oh man, and so I can tell you, I knew it was happening in '07, in late '07, because I was at a closing table, and the deal didn't go through, and it just
money dried up.
Yeah, it went down here from there. I would call myself flipping then. I had 7 houses I was paying hard money loans on, including the house I was living in. And so, all my reserves and stuff just got ate up. I did that for over a year before I realized, and then the actual hard money lender went out of business, which was a blessing or whatever, because they weren't getting their money back, so.
Right.
But what were you doing? What were you doing that time? I know you were still, because we sort of talked about it a little bit, I think. You were still buying and selling. I know it probably wasn't as much, but what did you do to survive through that time?
So,
the reason I'm bringing it up, because people keep saying something is about to happen. I'm telling you, man, if we could predict that, we'd be in another business.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, when I started feeling things change, it kind of happened quickly, and the subprime market kind of dried up overnight, and I probably had 6 or 7 deals that were out there that had contracts on them, and people wanted to buy them, but they couldn't get the financing for them. So I knew it was fixing to be some lean times, Uh-huh. So thankfully, I'm married to the most wonderful wife who made me save a lot of money while I was making it. I wasn't buying the boats and the motorcycles back then. I was saving money, so preparing myself for times like that. But I didn't even realize it, right? So when things hit the fan, we took about 7 or 8 flips and turned those into rentals because they would not sell. And then I was fortunate enough to still have really strong credit, so I refied and got some of my money out, not all of it, but some of the money out. So going into '08, I was not broke. I was not penniless. I was scared, laid awake many a night stressing out about how I was going to, feed my family. And but we carried on and got all the rentals refied and got as much cash as I could. And I figured out that the only properties that were selling were these USDA properties on the outskirts of Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, no one figured that out. But I kind of just accidentally happened onto a deal that was USDA. And
explain that.
USDA is rural housing loans that are 100% loans that are government funded loans that are great interest rates. And at the time, those were really the only ones that I saw closing. So I had a few.
I was about to say, describe rural for our market. Like, give me an area.
So it's like a loan that I guess originally was for like farmers.
Okay.
But those areas that like Pinson, parts of Clay, like Moody, those areas were qualifying for it. So
oh wow.
So I went on the map, and the house has to qualify on the map. So what makes it qualify is if it's in those little pockets that are USDA areas. So we went in and I bought one not knowing anything about it, and we put it on the market and it sold just like that. And I was like, what? It's like old times again. So I started trying to figure out what it was, and they had a USDA loan. So I called the mortgage officer, lender, and started asking him about it. And he said that it was USDA and explained it to me. And I was like, man, I need to buy as many in this area as I could. And thankfully, you could buy houses so cheap at 08 and 09. So I started buying them up. I was buying houses that now might sell for 70 grand. I was paying 20 grand for them. So I started picking up speed again, doing USDA, and next thing you know, we are, house flipping again. So probably did, 12 or 15 that year, and money was flowing again. And that's kind of when I started really amping this thing up. Until then, I probably stayed under that 25 a year mark.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
And then really in 2010 is when I really started getting more ambitious with it.
That's what's up. What, all right. This is a question, and, I sort of know you. I sort of probably know the answer to it. What prevents you, we're going to assume that you have assets that you could do some things, right?
Yes, sir.
We're going to assume that.
Okay.
All right. What prevents you from, and you may already be doing it because I didn't know you were doing the Airbnb.
Yes.
And, but what prevents you from going to the next level of possibly flipping commercial?
Okay. I feel like I know what I do well with the residential flipping.
Mm-hmm.
I was just at a multifamily event in Baltimore 2 weekends ago. So I am trying to dabble in a lot of that. But, one thing that I've always been really good about is staying focused on what I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
And you see so many people with the shiny object syndrome, squirrel over here. And I've always been tunnel vision focused on what I'm doing. And so I feel like I'm really good at what I do, and I love doing it. So, and let me tell you, it's very profitable. So why would I change what I'm doing, right? It's not broke. So now I'm all about diving into other opportunities, but it's a fun life I've got. I love it. So I really haven't seen any need to change a whole lot.
I got you. Basically, you're saying I can't make all the money.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I wish I could.
Yeah, man. Hey, so I hope I got enough questions in here for everyone, and I know your time is valuable, Matt. Anything you would like to share before we close this out?
I will say this, Ty, that I appreciate you so much. You've always been a great guy to work with, man, and one of my favorites. And you're so honest and straight up. You are the real deal. You
appreciate
really are,
it, man. I appreciate it. I don't know if that helped anyone out there or not.
Hey, and also tell your people to watch my YouTube King Flipper show.
Oh yeah, most definitely. They're going to watch it.
It's on REI Live is the channel. Okay.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description section of this particular video. For sure, you want to check that out. And I don't even know what the one is titled with me and you in it or whatever.
I think it's called Flip Man.
Okay, all right. That's
pretty sure. Yeah.
That's what's up. All right. Well,
that's
man,
who you are, right?
That's what they say, man.
That's awesome, man. I love it. It's great.
Hey, but yeah, man. So, guys, we really appreciate you watching this. Hopefully, I didn't babble too much. We let Matt share some valuable information about the fix flip side of the game versus the wholesale, because you need both to work. And again, thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Dude,
and
thank you, brother.
As I always say, guys, we'll see you on the flip side.
All right, man. Thanks, brother.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.